Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Brilliant Minds. Still, if you didn't subscribe, first subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more notifications. Hello viewers, today's concept is RDBMS. What is this RDBMS? RDBMS is nothing but Relational Database Management Software. We are going to use RDBMS in our concept. Why we are using RDBMS only in our concept? Because it is in the form of structured format. What is structured format? It means it is in the predefined format. About this predefined format we already discussed in the previous class. Yes or no? Now in structured format means we are going to store the data in a form of tabular form. In table, what are all the things you'll be having? You'll be having columns and also you'll be having rows. In columns, we are going to store the attributes, and in rows, we are going to store the records. Let me take a very good example to explain about this. Student. Student is an entity or not? Yes. Now what is entity first of all? Which exists in the real world. Now student exists in the real world or not? Yes. Now what are the properties of the student? The properties of the student are student ID, student name, student age, student marks. These all are the properties of the student or not? Yes. Now these properties we are calling it as what? Attributes. Now all these things we are going to fill in the tabular form. In table, what are the things you'll be having? You'll be having columns and also you'll be having rows. In columns, I'm going to fill with attributes. Attributes means what? Student ID, student name, student age, student marks. And in rows, I'm going to fill with records. What are the records? Student ID means I have to give the ID or not? 01 is the ID. And I have to give the name or not? Naresh is the name. I have to give the age or not? 25 is the age. I have to give the marks or not? 85 is the marks. In the same way, I have to fill remaining rows also with 02, Mahesh, 26 age and 84 marks. In the same way, I'll be filling my tabular form. This is in the form of structured format or not, where we are storing the data in a form of predefined format. Yes or no? This is RDBMS, Relational Database Management Software. The main advantage of this RDBMS software is here we are going to connect the tables from first table to second table to another table. In the name itself it is there, right? A Relational Database Management Software. It means we are going to make relation between two different tables. That is the main advantage of RDBMS. In RDBMS, we are going to query in structured query language. We are going to use the programming language what? Structured query language. Now SQL. What is this SQL? SQL is nothing but structured query language, which is in the form of structured predefined format. Now by using this SQL, we are going to communicate with the database. Now can you tell me one thing? Can you talk directly with the database software? No. Why you can't talk? Because you don't know the language what software knows. Now what you have to do? You have to learn the software. You have to learn the language what software will understand. What is that language? SQL is that language. By using this SQL, you can communicate directly with the software, which means if you want to insert the data, you can tell to that in that language. Then definitely it will insert the data. If you want to retrieve the data, you can tell to that software and you can retrieve the data. By using this SQL language, you are going to communicate with the software. Hope you all understood. Now the next concept is ErDiagram database. What is this ErDiagram database? ErDiagram database is nothing but entity relationship diagrams. This is not a software. This is the thing where you have to draw manually. Now there is a connection between ErDiagram database and relational database management system. What is the connection? By using ErDiagram database only, we are going to code in relational database management system. Now how that connection will happen, to make you understand, I will take one example. Let us assume that I am a builder. Sir, when did you become a builder? Don't worry, I am telling you to assume that I am a builder. Now I am a builder and you are my customer. You came near me to give one project. What is the project? I have to build one house. Now if I have to build one house, what you will do first? You will tell the structure of the house? Yes or no? It means me and you together, we have to make one blueprint or not? Yes or no? In that blueprint, what are you going to tell? Where your bedroom should be there, where your hall should be there, where your kitchen should be there, where your balcony should be there. Everything you will tell me, and in the same way I will design and I will show you. If you like it, if you agree, then we are going to keep in the project. Yes or no? In the same, now the thing is, if we don't have a blueprint, then what will happen? Even though we can build a house, right? Yes or no? What will happen means a big fight will happen between me and you. Why sir? Why fight will happen? Because in your mind something will be there and in my mind something will be there. If you tell me that, I will understand something and the output will come in another way. Then it will become a huge money loss and time loss, everything or not? Yes or no? Just because of that, first we have to make one blueprint. According to the blueprint, we have to do our project. In the same way, here also, ErDiagrams is like a blueprint for us. By using ErDiagrams, we are going to build one database in the database management software. Now we have to follow few rules to draw ErDiagrams. Whenever you see entity you have to keep in a rectangular box. Now here what we are doing, we are making relationship between two entities. Yes or no? That relationship you have to keep in diamond box. Now every entity will be having their own attributes or not. That attributes you have to keep in oval or ellipse. These are the few rules that which you have to follow to draw ErDiagrams. Now in this ErDiagrams, what is E? Entity. What is R? Relationship. Now we are making a relationship between two entities in a diagrammatic format. That is called ErDiagrams. Let me give you more clarity about entity. What is entity? Which exists in the real world. Now I am an entity or not? You have any doubt? Definitely. Can you look me right? Yes or no? Then I am an entity. You are an entity or not? Yes. If you can look yourself, then you are also an entity which exists in the real world, which you can see physically. Such type of things all are called entities. Oh really? Then in the example what we have taken, student is one entity. How the course will become entity, sir? Student we can see, but course we cannot see, right? Yes or no? Then how the course will become entity? I will give you clarity on this. Student which you can see physically. Such type of entities we call it as physical entities. Course you cannot see, even though it is an entity. What entity? It's a conceptual entity. What is this conceptual entity? Which you cannot see, but you can learn as conceptual thing. Course is a conceptual thing. Such type of things we'll call it as conceptual entities. This is the difference between physical entity and conceptual entity. Let me give you some examples on this. What are the examples of physical entities? Me, Naresh is a physical entity, like student, pen, paper, pencil, duster, me, you, everything which you can see is a physical entity. What are conceptual entities? Course is a conceptual entity because you are learning it. It is in the way of conceptual thing. Language, Java, C, these all languages are conceptual entities. Database software. Database software also is a conceptual entities because you are learning it. Yes or no? Such type of things all are called conceptual entities. Hope you got a very good clarity on physical entity and conceptual entities. Now let me tell you the components of ErDiagrams. We have 4 different types: entity, attributes, relationships and cardinality. In entity we have 2 different types: strong entity and weak entity. Now in attributes we have 4 different types: key attributes, simple attribute and composite attribute, single valued attribute and multi-valued attribute, and finally we have stored attribute and derived attribute. In relationship we have 2 different types. That first one is strong relationship and the next one is weak relationship. In cardinality we have 3 different types. What are those 3 different types? One-to-one, one-to-many and many-to-many. These all are the components of ErDiagrams. Now let us start with entity. We have 2 different types of entities. One is strong entity and one more is weak entity. What is the strong entity? The strong entity is which we represent in a single rectangle box. And not only that, every strong entity will be having a primary key attribute which identify uniquely the set, entity set. First of all, what is this primary key attribute? Now for suppose in one class there are 30 students. In the 30 students, each and every person will be having student ID, student name, student age, marks also, yes or no? For all the student, these things are common or not? Yes or no? By using what you can identify them? By using their ID or by using their name or by using their age or by using their marks? By using their ID only, right? Why sir, why can't we use their name to identify them? Because in one class there might be 2 different Naresh. If you call Naresh, there may be 2 persons will respond for that. But if you call them with their ID, only 1 person will respond. Such type of attributes we call it as primary key attributes. If the entity has a primary key attribute, such type of entities you call it as strong entity. Now then, what is weak entity, sir? Weak entity will be dependent on the strong entity. Like how? Let me tell you example for that also. Now I have a ID. My parents have any ID in my college? No, right? How they will identify my parents? By using my ID, they are going to identify my parents. Parent is an entity or not? Yes or no? They are dependent on me. It's very nice, right? We are saying that our parents are dependent on us. I know practically it is not possible, but conceptually I am making it possible. Okay, now coming back to the point. My parents are dependent on me. Such type of entities, we call it as weak entities. They'll be not having any primary key attribute. If they don't have any primary key attribute, such type of entities you have to call it as weak entities. If we have a primary key attribute, such type of entities you have to call it as strong entity. Hope you all understood the difference between strong entity and weak entity. Weak entities we are going to represent in a double rectangle box. Now let us discuss about entity type and entity set. What is this entity type? For suppose I will take 4 students, Naresh, Suresh, Mahesh, Rakesh. We have 4 students. These 4 students, Naresh, Suresh, Rakesh, Mahesh, these all are entities or not? Yes. But they belong to one type called student. That student only we are calling it as entity type. These 4 entities belongs to one type called entity type. That entity type only student. Now what is this entity set? It is a group of entities which sharing the same set of attributes. Such type of entities we call it as entity set. Now let me give you one example on this. I'll take one table. In this table I have student ID, student name, student age and marks. Down I have their IDs also. 01 Naresh, age 26 and marks 84. In the same way for second ID 02 Mahesh, what is the age? 24, marks 84. Now for the third person, name I will take it as Rakesh and age I will be taking it as 22 and marks I will take it as 84. Okay, now here I have three entities. What are those entities? Naresh, Rakesh, Mahesh. These all entities are sharing the same attributes or not? It means Naresh is also having student ID, student name, student age, marks. Rakesh is also having student ID, student name, student age, marks. Mahesh is also having student ID, student name, student age, marks or not? If we share all the attributes, such type of entities we call it as entity set. About attributes we will learn in the next class. I hope today you have learned something new from my side. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe it. If you want to give any comments, just give in the comment box. And don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you.